Okay, y'all, I had to like pop back on here and do like a story time because, well, first of all, I should probably say welcome back to the video. My name is Ari. I create relatable faith-based content here on YouTube that helps you grow your relationship with God. Really, I'm helping you break cycles, unlearn trauma, and become your best self and be confident about becoming that best self. I've been insecure majority of my life, and yeah, I finally got tired of being that person. So I just want to help other people not be insecure and also know that they're worthy enough to be loved by God despite your mistakes. The life that God's calling to you requires you to be a bigger and different version of yourself, and sometimes when you have a past, you don't always feel like you're worthy of the things that God has for you. And I wrestled for that for a long time. Like, I had to be perfect. I had to just have it all together. And God is like, baby girl, I called you as you are. I was like, period. Why did my I just pressed the button on my car, and I was like, why did it scoot up like that? Weird. Okay, so story time. Let's talk about how I went from relationship addiction to it being like 2+ years each time before I'm in a relationship. Insane. 2 years single, like, you could have never told me like I would ever be able to be single for 2+ years multiple times. Also, how old am I? Because, like, why does that happen so many times? I've always liked boys, okay? Well, let me be completely true. I did used to like girls before. So, now that we got that out there, we'll talk about that another day. As a kid, it was just, like, weird. I want to say probably, like, first grade. It's probably, like, the first time I, like, really was like, oh, I like this boy. I thought he was cute. But really, I didn't have a good knowledge of what it meant to like someone. I think at the core, I've always been someone that just, like, cared for people, liked people, wanted to get to know people, wanted people to feel accepted. I just wanted people to feel confident, to know how loved they were. Like, that was, like, always just the type of person I was. And I think because I saw something good in people, like, that like for them or that desire for them to be great or do great, like, I just didn't really have language for that. Like, I had love for people at a very young age, and I didn't know the difference or how to separate the two. So I just would be like, oh, I like you because you're cute and you like me. If you like me, I like you. I wasn't doing anything with these boys, right? I just liked the boys, and I liked that the boys liked me back. As I got older, I want to say like maybe like middle school, y'all, why did one time I was like kind of fast out here. I had boys like calling my house phone trying to talk to me. So I graduated 8th grade in 2010. So if I graduated 8th grade in 2010, like, I was in middle school when the first iPhone came out. So I was like 6th grade when the first iPhone came out. So there was like not really like cell phones like that. I didn't get like my first cell phone until like 6th grade. So wait, actually this was like elementary school. Girl, you was fast for real. Wow, I thought that was middle school. Elementary school, I had boys calling my house phone. Why was I that young? You know, like, when you're a certain age, you be feeling like you, like, you be feeling like you older than what you are, and you're not. Okay, so let me get to the point, because I feel like I'm just, like, talking at this point. Elementary school, I was always involved in the church. I grew up in the church. Like, that's just it. Like, my parents, we were the type that we went to church every single Sunday, literally. And even if we went out of town, we were at church every single Sunday. Like, no cap. My parents had me in Bible study. I was in private school up until like high school. I went to Christian school. Again, we did Bible studies. I did Awanas. Oh my God, if you have ever done Awanas, like, let me know in the comments, because oh my God, Awanas is lit. I loved Awanas. That's how literally to this day I know my books of the Bible is because of Awanas. I did like Bible bowls, everything. Like, I was super involved in youth group. I sang in the choir, like everything. My parents made sure like I was in the church for sure. And so, well, we was all in the church. And there was this dude that I liked at this church that I was at one time, or we were going to. My dad was in the military, so we moved around a lot. And there was this dude, his name was Elijah. Ooh, I don't know why I just said his name, but I just had to say his name, I guess. His name was Elijah, and I really liked Elijah. I just thought he was cute, and y'all, he was not that cute. But I thought he was, like, at that time, like, I mean, I thought that dude was cute. He was, like, a little rough around the edges, kind of like a bad boy. He was a couple years older than me. Like, I was in elementary school. That man was in middle school. Crazy, right? And it's so funny, like, man, I'm so fast, but I didn't lose my virginity till I was like, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's just stay on topic, or stay on topic. So I really liked Elijah, and Elijah would like call my house to like try to talk to me. One time during Bible study, it was like Sunday school. It was Sunday school. And like we got caught kissing in one of the Sunday school rooms during Sunday school, or during vacation Bibles. That's what it was, during vacation Bible school. We got caught kissing in one of the Sunday school rooms. And it was just like, girl, you know what's actually really crazy, y'all? This is like a full circle moment. I have to like call this out real quick. It's the fact that like literally like that same Sunday school room that I got caught kissing that boy in elementary school, it was, that church was on a military base. Like I said, my dad was in the military. That church on that base is actually that same base where Tyler Perry Studios is right now. Like, just, it wasn't even last week, it was this week. Just this week, I was filming at his studios, but where we were at on the property was right by the church. Like, right by that church, I got caught kissing that boy. But it's just full circle. When you go to a church, you grew up on a base, and like now I work there. So it's insane. It's God. It's literally God. Anyway, so mind you, like as time just went on, like I started just getting older, I just always like would like boys. It was never someone that I was not talking to, never someone that I didn't have on my line, that I wasn't entertaining or just having conversation with. So now I think some people will say, oh, like I have guy friends or I have girlfriends, like, which makes sense. Like I get that. But I think to the point where you begin to like talk to them a little too often or too frequently, it can get a little sticky. It can get a little weird. You grow a relationship with them. You can't, it's natural. The more you spend time with anybody, you grow to like them. It just happens. So I noticed for me, I never wanted to be alone. Like being an only child, moving every 3 years, growing up military, all those things, always being the new kid. I think that's what drove my, on top of me just being naturally a person who likes people, wants their best for people, wants to see them do the best and be the best, right? Like that's naturally how God created me. But also because I was always new and I was always the only child, I was still looking for like love and acceptance. I was still looking to feel included. I was still looking to like have friends and not get picked last for kickball. I still wanted to like have people at my birthday party. You know, like I didn't want to like live in the city even though I would be there for only a couple years. I didn't want to be there and then not know that I didn't have connections with people. And I think that just started showing up in a very like not necessarily healthy way. Again, because I started to thrive and feed on these connections with these people, like with these partners. In high school, I ended up dating this guy, and I really liked this guy. He was my boyfriend for about 2 years, and that was like my first real like relationship at that age, if that makes sense. I was super green, meaning I was just trusted him. I believed anything that came out of his mouth. It was almost like delusional, because some things that I knew just wasn't right, or things that he was telling me about, it's like, Ari, how could you possibly believe that man was telling the truth? Like, you're crazy. Like, how could you believe that? Like, this man came to school one time and had a bruise on his neck. Obviously, it was a hickey. The bruise on his neck, and I was like, someone came up to me and was like, oh, do you see so-and-so has a hickey on his neck? And I was like, no, he don't got no hickey on his neck, da da da. So I asked him about it, and he was like, oh, I got a bruise on my neck from playing basketball. My crazy self believed it, child believed it, but it's okay. I was young, I was innocent, I didn't really know. But and then it was like he was basically cheating on me the whole relationship with the girl that he had been dating in middle school. But like I said, I moved around a lot, so I was a new girl in high school, and he had this history with this girl from middle school. And he basically, on and off throughout our relationship, he was still dealing with her. And for the longest, I think, like, once I found out concrete evidence that actually was happening, because he had her name saved as one of his teammates on his basketball team. Once I found out that he was cheating on me, like, I literally broke it off with him immediately. Like, once I knew it was, like, for sure, I ended the relationship. But then I like talked to her for like 3 hours, 4 hours, until like 5 a.m. on the phone, of just like, you don't deserve to be in this relationship. Like, you're more than just a side piece. Like, you're more than just being someone's extra on the side. And I'm like encouraging her, while I just found out that my ex was cheating on me with her the whole time. And it was just like really the Lord. But I felt bad for her, because it was just like it's so embarrassing. I mean, his senior year, he was a year older than me. Like, he took me to his prom his senior year. Like, I guess he was supposed to take her, but he took me. Like, it's just like, that's because that was my boyfriend. Oh, my light just died, but whatever. Like, that's just crazy. She ended up getting pregnant by him and had a baby, and I was like, honestly, like, I'm just happy it wasn't me. I mean, I have nothing against either one of them, but like, and I'm happy that they have a baby and all the things. That situation definitely was like, okay, like, I don't know if I can really trust people anymore. Like, I was nervous to commit to a relationship, so that transitioned me into my toxic era. And when I mean my toxic era, I already had this like innate thing in me, which we all do. We all humans want to be loved and accepted, period. But like for me, it was a little bit more deep because, again, I already felt lonely because I have no siblings. I'm moving around every 2-3 years. I don't have the same friend group. My parents are also significant. My parents have me in their 40s, so my parents are older than me. It's like all these things kind of like piling up, and I'm just like, want that connection, right? I want that community. I want that understanding with someone my age, right? Having that pre-existing need in me, and then having someone that I fully trusted break my trust, and then I believed in them and I trusted them. It was hard for me to then commit to people moving forward. I wanted to be liked, and like I wanted to feel accepted, and I wanted to like have these relationships with these people, but yet like I was fearful to commit to them. Like I was fearful to be green again, to like fully like take that leap, you know, and trust that they weren't gonna hurt me. And I think honestly having that experience is what helped God start to usher me out of relationship addiction. And I know that sounds weird, that like me having my heart broken and feeling humiliated by people at my school because everyone knew that this man was cheating on me. And I even felt betrayed by my friends because I was like, how could y'all not tell me? But they were like, well, we didn't really know for sure. I'm just like, but that really ushered in me starting to break away or have a tension with those relationships, which is so strange because I've actually noticed this pattern when it comes to other things in my life. Like, some people may know, if you've ever been on this channel or if you came across my page, that I've denounced AKA. Like, I used to be a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I was a legacy. Everyone in my family is Greek. All the things. And there's so much, this video is not about that, but like, it took a lot for me to even get to the point of even being open to hear anything the Lord wanted to say about AKA, because I was so convinced and I was so sure. I was just so green and so excited. I had my own belief and my own understanding, but like, it took me being suspended from the organization for hazing. It took me having this whole process, which was obviously like blood, sweat, and tears. Like, I had to earn my letters. Like, it's like to go through that and then contribute something to an organization, show up for it, be loyal to it, just to be backhanded and betrayed and disrespected by that same organization. Like, it leaves bitterness in your mouth. But like, I had to be suspended for God to then produce the soil needed for me to be open to hear from him. So like, I needed to have my heart broken so that I cannot be as green or as open or as willing to have these relationships or connections to people that clearly are not for me. You know what I'm saying? And so and that's what I feel like the Lord was doing. Like, you know, Ari, like, I get that you have this need to be loved and accepted. I get that you have this need of wanting to like know that you're worthy, know that you're good enough, you know, like you just want to have someone to experience life with and do fun things with. I get that, but like, you get that from me first. These people gonna hurt you. These people are flawed, okay? And if you're not intentional about who you're wanting to connect yourself to, then more hurt people are gonna hurt you. And it's going to make you more hurt. And then you're going to hurt people. But I didn't realize, though, until, like, so fast forward into college, right? I meet this guy before I go to college. We ended up dating majority of my college career. I love this dude. I loved him. Like, seriously, like, to this day, he has a special place in my heart. Would never be with him again, but he has a special place in my heart. And I do care about him, and I want the best for him, and I want him to be great. But, like, I spent majority of my college career in relationship with this guy. But the thing is like, I could never fully commit to him. And it was a stuff in me internally that God started to bring to the surface of like how I got a lot of my identity from relationship with people. I got a lot of my identity from, again, these relationships. God started to move in a way where I could no longer feed on that. I could no longer draw from that. So my insecurities, my deficiencies, my lack became a lot more loud in my face. So it made me hard to commit to him. It made me hard to fully be in a relationship with him, because within myself there was a disconnect. Like, it's so crazy because he was actually someone who started to get me to want to read devotionals more, read my Bible more. One of my good friends from college, she's my good friend to this day. She's also someone that I can credit for wanting to usher me more into, like, being intentional about being in this space. When I got to college, I was not wanting to go to church. I was not wanting to read my Bible. I smoked weed way more. I smoked weed before class, after class, in between class. We had sessions every single day. Blunts on blunts on blunts on blunts. We would hotbox. We would smoke at someone's house. We would smoke in my dorm. We were smoking all the time. There was never a time I was not high. Legitimately. And it was like my friends that God had placed around me, even that guy in that relationship that I was not trying to fully commit to, that was drawing me deeper. Like, you need to read your devotional, be in this, be in that. And I feel kind of bad. I feel like I was low-key a bad influence to him at a point in time, because I started to get him into smoking, into like doing things that he just wasn't doing. But it's like, I felt so insecure. I didn't know who I was. I was trying to figure it out. And I feel like God was really just calling me. I'll say, long story short, 50 times in this story before I actually finish the story. But it got to a point with this man, like, being in a relationship with this guy, like, he literally would ask me to be his girlfriend, y'all. And I'd be like, oh, I don't like the way you asked me. And he would ask me again. I'd be like, I don't like the way you asked me. Not today. And it's like, I just couldn't be all in. And it was also just that, again, that fear of, like, will I be humiliated again? Like, will you break my trust again? Like, will I be looking crazy? Will I look stupid again? And I hated, that eventually we did end up getting together, and, everything was cool for the time in which it was. But then I started feeling like I was losing myself in the relationship. He started making me, like, not be like myself. He wouldn't want me to talk to certain people, be friends with certain people. And I'm friendly. I am a nice person. Like, I can talk to a brick wall. Legitimately, like, I can talk to anything. Like, this doggone cup right here, my phone. Like, I can talk to I have a conversation with anything, okay? Anything. And I didn't like the fact that he didn't want me to be friendly. He didn't want me to have conversations with people that he didn't like. I felt like that was just, it forced me to be someone I wasn't, and I didn't like that. I noticed a shift in my other relationships, my friendships. I noticed that, he was kind of pulling me away from that. In any relationship that makes you feel like you can't be yourself, that makes you feel like you have to, like, change who you are, it's just obviously not who you need to be with, nor where you need to be. And so it took me having to walk through that with him to be like, okay, I don't like that I'm changing. I don't like this version of myself. I don't even know who I am. I'm still smoking a lot. I'm still trying to figure things. I don't like it. And this was also just another layer of God just, like, stripping away the desire for me to, like, get that connection from other people. It was legitimately to the point God was creating tension in my romantic relationships. Deep tensions. That was to the point where, like, I just didn't want to be connected to anyone who would make me feel like I can't be who God called me to be. If it didn't feel comfortable, if it didn't feel natural, I couldn't do it. And I can give you a lot of examples of relationships like this. But even after I dated that guy in college, my senior year, I started dating an older guy. And older, like, he was like maybe 5 or 6 years older than me. And at that time, that was significantly older for me. I have never dated a guy like that was 6 years older or 7 years older than me. Whatever, 5, 6, 7, something around that range. And he taught me so much about myself. I realized how toxic I was, like, how my communication was just not okay. The fact that I was a gaslighter, low-key narcissistic sometimes. I would like force things or pressure things. I would project a lot of times. Like, he taught me these things, and who I am today, and a lot of things that I was able to see about myself was because of that relationship. Now, me and him never really worked out, but I'm grateful to him for showing me deep things about who I didn't see I was, and who I was becoming, and how my past relationships before him were kind of like making me into this person that I did not like. And that relationship really matured me in a lot of ways. And it was from that relationship where I really started just kind of like being by myself. I graduated college. God spoke to me about going to Emory, and I got my master's. I didn't want to go to theology school. First of all, do I even look like I would be in theology school? Like, mind you, and even then, I looked different back then. Back then, I had blonde box braids, pink box braids, like holy jeans, like cut up this, cut up that. Like, you could not tell me, boo-boo child. I was supposed to be at seminary. I was not supposed to be there. But I was supposed to be there because the Lord said I was supposed to be there. So period. God sent me to seminary school, and I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there either. Like, I was like all constantly just on this like journey of like self-discovery, trying to figure out who I was, what I liked, what I didn't like. But at that time, because I was so on fire for the Lord, I was like, okay, God, I only want what you want for me. And I felt like at that time, because God was like, speaking to me about ministry, doing ministry and preaching, and I was at that time actually doing that. I was working with a lot of community organizations. I was preaching at churches, doing youth groups, all the things. And I was like, okay, God, well, obviously I got to be with a pastor. And I'm skipping kind of the story. Like, there's so much I could say about this, and we'll get deeper into this on this channel. So that's why you should subscribe. Oh, I just hit the mic. That's why you should subscribe, so you just never miss anything that we chat about on here, because there's so many things I could chat to y'all about, because I done been through the ringer. Okay, the ringer. But God was like, no, I was like, okay, I gotta be with a preacher. I gotta be with a pastor. Like, if God called me to be a preacher, like, I gotta be with a preacher, right? Like, I gotta be with somebody who knows the Bible, who can quote the scriptures, all the things. When I tell you guys, let me know if you ever want a video on how to not know who your husband is, and if you want a video on how to know who your husband is, okay? Because I was convinced that the Lord told me who my husband was 3 times. 3 times. I can name them, literally. 3 men that God has told me I could have swore was my husband. Swore. Man, I can make a video about each one of them. One of them tried to sue me for defamation, though. So I don't know if I can make another video about him. Are you still subscribed, sir? Don't come at me, okay? Because I had this idea. I was in seminary school. I was thinking, okay, I got to be with a pastor. I got to be with a preacher. Met a guy, one of my classmates. Cool guy. Cool. Loved the Lord. Great person. Great friend. Ended up being, this man broke with me on Valentine's, y'all. He one time left me at a restaurant to pay the bill because he was just upset about something. He didn't believe in opening car doors. He didn't believe in carrying groceries. He thought chivalry was like, that meant like servant. I don't really know. There's not much more to say about that. Another dude, but loved the Lord. Like, preacher, loved the Lord. Bible busting out the scene, can quote all the scripture. For real. Then another one I dated. He's getting his doctorate. At that time, I was like 23, 24 years old. He's getting his PhD, okay? I had already had my master's. I'm like, you getting your PhD? Like, what? Okay. Talk to me nice. Crazy. Like, bat. Crazy, okay? Bible tabs like nobody business. Bible busting out the seams. Can preach the heavens down, but ain't no fruit. Not kind. Very narcissistic. Very manipulative. Very egotistical. Crazy, and threatened to sue me. There's so much I can say about that, but again, are you still subscribed, sir? Because then another dude, y'all. Also, and I was convinced, like, this is how these stories ended. Now, if I told you how they started, you'd be like, oh yeah, he's definitely your husband. Yeah, for sure. No, not at all. The other dude, he ended up marrying somebody else. That's it. That's all I can really say. He ended up marrying somebody else, and I already knew that was happening because the Lord literally gave me a dream. Like, I literally had a dream before I even knew who the girl was, before I even knew he was dating. Okay, there's so much that I can tell you about that story. Before I even knew he was dating, the Lord sent me a dream of us in a sports car. At the time, this man drove a sports car. Okay, told me a dream of us in a sports car. I was in the driver's seat. A girl gets in the passenger seat. The girl looks just like the woman that he's married to right now. Skin complexion, hair, build, everything. She says to me in the dream, he chose somebody else. Could you imagine the Lord giving you a dream like that? Like, could you imagine? Could you imagine? These things happen. These relationships happen. Like I told you, the guy who cheated on me in high school and I didn't even know about it. Then the dude in college who I really wanted to commit to, but then he started, like, I lost myself. I just really didn't know who I was. And then the dude, the older guy that showed me myself, and it still didn't work out. It's fine. And then the three men that I, Bible thumpers, educated, knew that they knew all the scriptures, still didn't work out. You're like, what's the point? Mind you, all of these relationships had to, one, wreck my belief. Okay? Wreck my belief of what it looks like, meaning what my person should look like, what the relationship should look like. Even the fact that because I felt like, oh, I'm a Bible believer, like I know the scriptures, I went to seminary, then my partner also has to be that. And those relationships, those three men were actually those relationships impacted me more than the other relationships I just, like, negatively. They showed me how I didn't actually for the very longest want to date a pastor, like, or a preacher. I actually still don't have the desire. Because it made me reorganize my focus to, like, what really matters, what makes me happy, what is actually necessary in a partner, what qualities do I really look for. I literally have a whole list in my phone. And mind you, all of this mattered to help me heal from relationship addiction, because my intentions every single time was shifted. Like, the more I had these relationships with these people, the more I had these traumatizing encounters or revelations. Every time I had an expectation or idea of how that person should be or how that person should show up, God literally wrecked it, and repositioned my focus, narrowed my focus to things that actually really mattered. Character, how you treat people, how you treat strangers, right? Like, it's so crazy. I have to say this real quick, because my small group leader in college, the small group that literally changed my entire life, my small group leader, one, she used to be a lesbian, okay, and then her husband was an atheist. She was a lesbian, her husband was an atheist. When they got together, she decided she didn't want to be a lesbian anymore. So they started dating, okay? He's still an atheist. She's starting to, like, grow in her relationship with God and all the things. And in her growing in her relationship with God, like, she then, like, starts feeling led to, like, she wants to start a small group, like, lead small groups and stuff. I meet her later on in life. This is very much the beginning part of her, like, coming to Jesus story. If that makes sense. She gets married. Her and the dude get married. He's still an atheist, okay? But she's a new believer, so she's just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, like, we love each other. We're going to make it work. Into their marriage, eventually, this man ends up denying atheism. I don't even know if that's the word. He ends up denying being atheist and is like, I'm going to be a Christian. Like, I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm going to accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, right? And now they literally, like, lead small groups, lead marriage ministries, lead all the things together. And I'm not saying that's, like, everyone's story, right? But, like, I also think about, like, Joyce Meyer's husband is not a pastor, okay? And I think about Michael Todd. Like, Michael Todd, his wife, I don't know if she's, I mean, I think that she plays a role in the ministry. Do not get me wrong, but this girl is not in the pulpit every single Sunday, right? I think a lot of religion, a lot of my expectation, a lot of what culture or society has shown or taught us, especially when it comes to women in ministry, or women in leadership, it looks a certain way. And I thought for the longest my life, especially after I said yes to Jesus, right? After dating the older guy and giving God a fresh yes, and then feeling like I had to date these Bible bumpers, Bible thumpers, quoting scripture, fruitless people, right? That God was like, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. But each time I felt like before Christ, after Christ, in my walk, I felt like God was putting in brick by brick, you know, building up what really mattered for me, showing me, like, I don't have to be fearful, right, and wanting to be loved by someone, but I need to first, like, be fearless in letting God love me, you know. And then I also can't assume nor expect that everything that looks like God is him. Like, I actually have to look deeper. I actually have to ask questions. And it was me being in these experiences, and this is why I always tell people, do not force your friends that are in those toxic relationships for 7 years, 10 years, 7 months, whatever. Do not force them out those relationships, because I've been the friend that's so passionate, that's so loving, that has been forceful in my articulation of such, and it ruins friendships. I literally regret things that I have said out of love that was not what needed to be said in that moment. Regret it, legitimately. So I tell people, like, don't force your opinion, nor your love, nor what you feel like you see on your friend, on those that you care about, because they got to get to a point to walk it out for themselves. They got to get tired. They got to figure it out. They got to navigate it for them. And, and you never know the outcome for something. The outcome can be beautiful. It could be amazing, right? But you got to let people feel the freedom to walk that out. And God gave me the freedom to, like, walk these relationships out, to walk out my expectation of what I thought it was supposed to look like, what I thought he wanted me to do based on who he was calling me to be. Like, God was building up my discernment. He was building up me asking the right questions. He was building up my desires and making them in alignment with his desires, and showing me, again, everything that looks like God is not God. Even if he has a Bible on his nightstand, it doesn't matter if he has all the tabs. It doesn't matter if the page is folded over. He got scripture in his bio. It doesn't matter if he can pray the heavens down. It doesn't matter if he stands in a pulpit and he preaches. It doesn't matter, because if the fruit does not match the root, then it's dead. It's dead. And I don't want no parts. I don't want no parts. God built up, that's why he says, like, I think we make our walk with God so complicated, and we, like, feel like we have to have it all figured out. And it's just like, God is just like, just come, just sit with me, just spend time with me. Because, like, just like I told you earlier in this conversation, like, the more you spend time with someone, the more it's natural to like them anyway. Like, the more you spend time with God, the more your desires become more like him. Legitimately, actually, truly. So, like, it didn't take me being in 50,000 toxic relationships to figure it out. But it did take me a few, okay? It took me a few of me walking it out and letting God lead me, right? He may not have led me in that relationship, but just like scripture says, all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Hey, can I get an amen? That's what I rest in. If maybe God didn't lead me to that relationship, even though I felt like God spoke to me. Because the thing is, I was so convinced God spoke to me, but I feel like God really wanted to show me, like, are you going to actually look at things deeper? Those wolves in sheep's clothing, everything that's dressed up like me ain't me. And I get that that's what you may think, that's what I expect for you, but actually what I expect for you is for you to feel love, for you to know that you're worthy, for you to know that you're capable, that you're good enough, that you are you're enough just as you are. Period. That's what I desire for you to know. That's what I desire for you to, like, take to the bank and cash in. I want my love to be the only thing that drives you, that pulls you, that whatever. And it comes from me first. And I feel like God, because he's always put a desire in me to be a wife. He always put a desire in me to be a mom. Like, that desire has to be pruned. That desire has to be developed. Okay, like, if you don't have, especially if you want to do it the right way, marriage is work. And you have to work on yourself first. You have to know who you are. You have to know your value proposition. You have to know what you bring to the table. You have to unlearn traumas. You have to unlearn your insecurities. You have to unlearn these toxic things that we just learn in life. And those relationships that some I may have brought myself into, or that God ushered me into, like, those had to happen, right? And it was in me walking through it that I got tired of feeling like I was the only one in a relationship that wanted to actually be better. I got tired of feeling like I was the only one that wanted to communicate effectively. I got tired of communicating with people who just didn't want to be different, who were just too far off to even want to have the mature conversation. I was tired of emotionally immature people. And that is what drew me to the point of breaking free from relationship addiction, is walking with Jesus, walking with the Lord, and getting frustrated and tired, and knowing my worth, and knowing what's possible, and knowing that honestly, I don't have the energy to chat with you for 5 hours today about something that happened when you, like, I don't have the energy for that. Because the thing is like the way it works with God, because and this is why I've also have felt like God was in these previous relationships. I felt like God was in these previous relationships because when I would pray, I would see God respond. And I felt like God was showing me very early on how to be a praying wife, how to pray for my relationship, how to pray for my marriage, how to pray for my children. Because I can't be a woman that operates from bitterness. I cannot hold on to the things that my loved ones do to me. I have to take that directly to the Lord and pray for it, because the more I sit on it and harbor it, it will affect the way that I show up as a woman, as the woman that God has called me to be. Period. I had to learn that in these relationships. But as doing that, like, I got more content with being by myself, more content of working and developing this woman, so that if God leads me to a relationship, whatever, like, I can be my best self in it. And then, like, if that's not the one that God wants me to be with long term, then fine. Like, I'll be okay afterwards. But that's because, like, I know that God's with me. Like, God and I have built up that relationship where I'm so, like, confident and so certain that God is literally with me, and I only want where his hand is on. Because if his hand is not on it, it's going to bring me more torment. It's going to bring me more trauma, more depression. I'm going to have to pay more to my therapist. I don't want it. More embarrassment, more humiliation, more wasted time when I could be building the kingdom. I want to build the kingdom, not be distracted by Pee-wee and whatever. I don't even know what to call them. People that just ain't worth my doggone time. I don't got it. I don't have it. Because when I tell you I have conversations with people and I get frustrated by the ignorance, it's because God has developed me and built me up to a point where it's just like, my toleration for ignorance is small. Very small. So therefore I cannot open myself up for unequally yoked relationships. I cannot open myself for unequally yoked partnerships, because you're a distraction. You're delaying me from the promise that God has. And that means you're delaying me. Promise is my marriage, my family, the ministry, what have you. I cannot be delayed nor distracted from that thing. And God had to build that desire, but that was developed in his presence. In his presence. Daily. Regularly. Walking the thing out. So yeah, I don't know. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, my story time. I hope you guys are blessed. Okay, child, blessed by this whole story. I just said a whole lot. If you ever have any questions about anything, guys, anything, there's so much I could say. I'm even skipping over, but I mean, honestly, friend, sometimes again it takes you making 50,000 walks of shame. Some of y'all may be one walk of shame. May take you having meaningless sex and drunken nights and pointless phone calls or trips flown out and being cheated on and just settling, for whatever. It may take a lot of that for you to get to a point of saying you want more and you want to do more and you want to put the work into you. But just know, when you're ready to put in that work and you're ready to heal and become your best self, my friend, my sister, my brother, I'm here. This family is for you. This community is for you. And we're always going to be pushing you and reminding you of who you are. Because, baby girl, God literally has bigger than you have ever imagined set aside for you. Period, point blank. I could keep talking for hours, but thanks for tuning in to this TED Talk, and I really hope that this conversation bless you guys. I love you guys, but you already know the Lord love you more. Don't forget to subscribe and comment below if you liked it. Let me know your favorite part, okay? All right, but yeah, I love you guys. God loves you more, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Bye.